Hey guys, welcome back to Chris and Retro. Happy 4th of July. Yesterday was my birthday. Turned 52 yesterday. So today I decided to go out and do a run and see what I had, if I have anything left in the tank. And I got a little bit left, but not a lot. I'd like to run when it's really hot. It's really hot out. I don't know why it is. I can't stand running in the cold, but I got to jog in today. I felt pretty good. Been getting some workouts in recently, which has been good for stress and some other things. So that's been good. But I'm going to take another run at this year and see what this year looks like, better than last year. Today I want to talk about the Declaration of Independence. I did a little bit of work on this just because I want to know the people behind it. I know of the people, I know what it is, I know what we're talking about, but I was curious about the men behind the Declaration of Independence, especially in the context of some of the things that we deal with in today's society. So I'll give you a little bit of background on it. First of all, most were American born, but there were 8 foreign born people on the deck that signed. The age range was 26 to 70. The youngest was 26, and that was Edward Rutledge. The oldest was Ben Franklin at 70. Most of them were in their 30s and 40s. A little over half of them were lawyers, which I would probably have thought most of them would have been lawyers, but a little over half were lawyers. But the rest were planners, merchants, and shippers. So we're really talking about people that are making things move in this country. Obviously have legal entities that have to operate things, but somebody's got to get the work done. And it was nice to see that was a part of the leadership that signed for our independence. What was really important about this is that for me is that it was illegal. They were treasonous against the British king to sign this. Everybody that signed committed treason. They were believed so much in what they were going to try to accomplish that they didn't care. The United States of America was going to be independent. I look back at what Scotland went through for their independence against England as well. And so it just seems to me that to get your independence, you got to pick a fight and declare, I'm doing this, and this is what we're going to do. And you got to lock arms with your brothers and sisters to get things done. Now, this declaration, they also made a declaration to themselves in and amongst the people on the team that signed this thing. And, while many of them were, as they said, men of means, which meant that they had money and wealth, many of them did not. Neither here nor there, regardless of social class, they pledged to each other their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. They pledged themselves their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to each other on this collective group of people that was going to sign a treasonous document against the British king. It was a declaration of a lot of things, and one of those things was war. When you believe in something, I've said this on the show before, it's more than just stating it. It's more than just saying I want to. When you say I will do something and that declaration comes out of your mouth, and in this case, signed on the dotted line, you're all in. And what it does, it provides accountability to your brothers and your fellow man, but it also provides accountability that's syndicating this message out that says we will stand for us independently and we'll live as a free nation. Now, a few other fun facts about it. Benjamin Harrison of Virginia and Richard Henry Lee of Virginia, they initially didn't agree with the document. Not everybody agreed. So that was interesting too to me, is that, I think we look at the lore of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and it's about big kumbaya fest. But if we look at the actuality, the age range alone, the occupation range alone, the perspectives alone, this was a collective group of people that were free-thinking individuals. They were not groupthink. Not everybody agreed. And in Richard Henry Lee's position, he was upset because there's no Bill of Rights associated with it. But again, they had to make progress. It wasn't going to be perfect at first, but they had to make progress. There was a lot of controversy around the Declaration of Independence. There's almost 27 different controversies related to the Declaration of Independence and its validity. There was things in there that they believed were claiming falsely against the king. There was a number of things about the Declaration of Independence they had a problem with. One was that it didn't say anything about slavery, but yet it's a document about freedom. I'll address that in a second. A big one, it was not signed on July 4th, 1776. It was actually signed on August 2nd, 1776, because not everybody was present on July 3rd or July 4th. A few other interesting things. Edward Rutledge, the youngest signator, he was a prisoner of war from 1781 to 1780 to 81. So 5 years later, after they've declared their independence, he actually went to as a criminal of war for it. He ended up by stepping down for health reasons later. Many people did step down for health reasons as time went on. Thomas Lynch Jr., him and his dad, Thomas Lynch Sr., were the first father and son on the Constitutional Congress. William Whipple, this was interesting. Now this goes to the slavery point. He's 56. He signed and freed his slave. Now, I question that a little bit. I mean, this may be my cynical thing, but I mean, I'd like to think it was a noble decision that says, okay, I'm not going to be hypocritical in signing this document. If I'm going to sign for freedom, then everybody gets freedom and my slave is free. I would love to think that that's a noble moral decision. And if that was his decision, that's great. If this was the awakening that he had to make that happen, then okay. My question is, though, was it based on the controversies related to slavery not being addressed, that he was using that for political ambition to show that he actually was good with it? And that, I wonder the timing of it, I guess, more than anything. I agree with the sentiment. I just wonder the timing of it, if there wasn't more to it than just some kind of a noble situation. John Morton of PA, he was the first one to die, the first signature to die. And this one struck home because guess how old he was? 50 freaking 2. He couldn't have been 53. He couldn't have been 55. He couldn't have been 48. He had to be 50 freaking 2. And I had to find that out a day after my birthday. So I'm going to be holding on white knuckle on this year, people. Not going to take me at 52. One thing that was interesting is that I thought another thing was interesting, that no one died at the hands of the British. I would argue that, Edward probably came pretty darn close, spending a year in a British prison, but as a criminal war. But no one died to the British. So I found that interesting. So why am I bringing this up other than just fun fact, July 4th? This is actually going to speak to our current state. Can you imagine a situation where you could get this many politicians in a room from Connecticut, 4 from Connecticut, 3 from Delaware, 3 from Georgia. Georgia's obviously got controversy with even voting now. Maryland, 4. Massachusetts, 5, New Hampshire, 3, New Jersey, 4, 5, New York is 1, 2, 3, 4, North Carolina was 3, Pennsylvania was, I think, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yep, 9. South Carolina had 4. Incidentally, Pennsylvania is where they ultimately signed on August 2nd. Rhode Island, 2. Virginia had a number here that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on from Virginia. And so if you notice, imagine getting this many politicians just from those few states to agree on anything today. Get them in a room. Imagine on what planet is going to unify a group of people in our current political structure to sit in a room and sign something as blatantly fiery as declaring our independence and our own self-interest over any other nation. That is not happening with our current political climate. Sam brought up another interesting point too, is that a lot of the reasons why they were able to deal with their own disagreements is because they were face to face. They were literally face to face. There was no computer between them. She says the only reason people have balls today is they got a computer in front of them. Man, I agree with that. There's very rarely, I've had some people say some pretty nasty crap for me on Facebook, and I've even been threatened to be punched in the face on Facebook. And in that situation, within 30 minutes, I was on that person's front porch, and the person never answered the door. So, these are situations where, the computer gives people a lot of bravery, but it doesn't solve any problems. It just inflames things because we're actually physically removed and can say whatever we want. And I would argue many times people that pop off on the computers like that are intoxicated when they're using it. I've heard somebody joke one time that they should put a breathalyzer on Facebook before you can log in. And man, I definitely co-sign that. But the point is that we're not, as a nation or as people, able to sit down and have a disagreement and work through that because we don't have a common objective. Our only objectives are only our self-interest. You look at the opioid crisis. A lot of reasons why things are not getting solved is you have politicians have one agenda for the use of money. We have treatment providers have, confusing and complicated situations and labor issues and everything else going on. You've got regulatory issues that cross over that aren't matching up between the mental health and substance use disorder side. There's all this mess, and there's no common goal to solve this problem of people dying to drug addiction. We're not sitting down and declaring our independence from the pharmaceutical drive for hooking us on things, or we're not declaring our independence from the things in mental health that are not working. This Declaration of Independence was a country of people that says we may have disagreements, but we are going to live free, and we're going to die trying, and we're going to sign this document to show our unity. And everybody that comes here to try to figure that out, we're going to show you. We're going to show you how serious we are. Now, all these years later, are we still that same country? Are you that U.S. citizen that you would give all to make sure that our children were free? I don't know that we are capable of being what we once were currently, but we certainly can have a drive and a movement that says more so than just great taglines for a political campaign, that our day in and day operation collectively as a unit is that I can disagree with you unbelievably about your politics. And I could really just wonder if you've been sucking on gasoline for the last 2 hours when you, some comments you might make. And I can still come alongside you and be agreeable with you and work towards making this country great. Believe it or not, it's possible. But you got to remove the computer and you got to sit down face to face where you actually do have some respect for somebody because they're in arm's reach of you. I think that goes a long ways, candidly. We can start declaring our cause, common enemies, coming together, moving forward together in all facets of our life, whether it's church, legal structures, treatment providers, political movements, social movements, nonprofit organizations, for-profit organizations. When we start moving towards a common goal or common enemy in many ways, we can do remarkable things. I look back at September 11th. And man, I can remember that day. I can remember being on a phone with somebody from New Jersey, said she saw 2 black clouds going over top. She was the northeast side of New Jersey, and she could see the towers burning and the black smoke that was going out over the ocean. And then hearing the people that were running, that I knew that had been running from the building. And just that day, I remember looking up at the sky at night and not one airplane was in the sky. It was just eerily dead. And yet, as a nation, we came together because we knew for sure that we were under attack and we had to be together. This is what was going on during the Declaration of Independence, is that they wanted their freedom. They did not want to live under the British crown, and they were going to be free, and they were going to declare that in a document, regardless of their backgrounds and regardless of their history and regardless of their entire belief system. They were going to come together and make a nation free. And I believe that we can do the same thing. Hope you guys enjoy the 4th of July. We intend to. I'm going to go on a picnic here in a couple hours, get the kids in a pool, and probably get sunburned and eat a lot of hot dogs. But I appreciate you guys very much. Please like and subscribe. Put your comments in here. I'd be curious to know what you think about it. And between now and the next time we talk, I'm going to stay out of trouble, and I hope you do too.